Okay. I don't seem to see anybody in the classroom. I mean, are we? Maybe they are not here yet. Please, if you are in the classroom, can you just indicate so that we can start? If we have a good number, we can start. Okay, there's one comment here. Okay, good morning, Chioma, you're welcome. All right, all right. Okay, Mr. Adam, you're welcome. So let's just wait a bit, like 5 minutes, let more people come on, and then we'll just start straight away. So let's just hang on a bit, please. Let more people join because, in actual fact, we are starting this class with a discussion. So we're going to have a discussion class to start, and that will set the pace for what we are to learn today. And so we need a minimum of at least 10 people. This class is supposed to seat 900 plus. So if we have 10 people, I don't think that's fair enough. We are just two in the class now. Please, if you come in, let us know you are there so we can have our discussion. The course is coming to a close, and many people are getting. Or are you enjoying the practical session more? Why is the class becoming scanty? I thought this part was the fun bit. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Okay, for those of you that are just joining in, we are trying to get more people on board so we can start. So right now we have just 5 people, that's it. So let's just hang on a bit. When they come, we will start. If we get a good number, at least 10, we can actually start. Miss Hanato, how many do we have now? I can see 4. Do we have more people, even if they are not typing in? I really need more people to join in so we can start with our discussion session. They finally opened it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good morning.
Good morning. How was your weekend? Let me hold the laptop for you.
Okay. All right, just this one. Okay, I don't want to close that. Because sometimes this thing can be so funny. Thank you.
Thank you. I was only there, right? Oh, lovely.
Mr. Ode,
Yes, ma'am.
please, Abel. This, please let this page not close. Just take it to the boardroom upstairs.
Okay,
I'll
ma'am.
take the class there.
All right.
This this seems to be confusing.
Workshop, the staff of that, please.
Good morning, ma'am.
It's better I just take the class here.
Exactly.
Because that, and they still continued with their, I don't know why they are quarreling. I just don't know. But you can, you can get a desk. That place you put your bag. That's good, so that it doesn't block the logo. I mean the post. Oh, that's fine. Please enjoy. All right, this is 9:30. We're not waiting for anybody anymore. We'll just go ahead and start. If anybody should join us, that's fine. We can just, they can catch up. Thank you so much, the rest of you that came so early and you had to wait for 20 whole minutes. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so today, what are we going to learn today? It's quite the interesting bit. I thought what I was saying, that it's getting more and more interesting, and the class is getting fewer. So what's going on here? But no worries, the others can always catch up, because normally at the end of the whole lecture period, we send our lecture materials so that everybody will be on the same page. So let me share again. Okay, so we are going to be talking about, remember, this is AAI 104, is AI-powered chatbot without programming. For those of us that had our hands-on, most of the sessions, we have seen that you actually can design chatbots without programming, but that is not the talk for today. We'll have to do that on Wednesday when we have our class. But we're going to be trying out some new tools that can help us to achieve that aim. But for today, we will be looking at our conversational interfaces. Today, conversational interfaces. And what do we mean by our conversational interface? Because most times we have interactions. We have interactions with our systems, our digital systems. And when we have these interactions, there's always like, who is talking to me at the other end? And if we remember from our experiences, there are some sites we try to go into, and the site even asks us to verify if we are humans. And so, what do we mean when we discuss conversational interfaces in deep learning, in artificial intelligence? What do we really mean when we discuss conversational interfaces? All right, so we have to do this. That was why I was waiting for more people to join in. Let us do something from what I think. Read these questions very carefully and let us do this. I'm going to give you like 5 minutes, just read through and then respond. And from there, your responses will usher us into the introduction of conversational interfaces. Let me just read it out. Conversation with human or chatbot. That's the heading. It's a discussion. So please, fast fingers, you type what you think. And this is the question. When you are typing into a chat messenger or talking to a customer service representative on your digital device, such as your mobile phone, your laptop, and whatever digital device you're using, how do you know if you are talking to a human or a chatbot? How do you know if you are talking to a human or a chatbot? From your experiences, can you just type how you know this? And I wrote there, please post your answers in the comment section and read the post to other learners. So we are going to read it together and see. Please post. Carefully read through again. It's saying that when you are typing into a chat messenger or talking to a customer service representative on your digital device, any digital device you are using, your computer system, your tablet, your mobile phone, your laptop, your desktop, whatever device you are using. How do you know if you are talking to a human or a chatbot? How do you know? Or you can say, when you are talking to a human, what are the characteristics? When you are talking to a chatbot, how do you know this is a chatbot, this is human? Okay, more comments. Comments are coming in, so please type your own. Okay, more comments, please. I think we have up to, I think about 10 in this class. How do you know? Okay, we're having comments here and it's saying by quick response. Somebody says by quick response. Okay, when you say by quick response, does it mean that it is a human being or a chatbot? Just clarify, please. We have another comment here. It says by it giving prompt an accurate response. Okay, that's when you know it's a chatbot, right? I presume. And then another one is saying quick response to questions. Okay. More comments, please. I have two comments here. One says quick response, the other says quick response to questions, which is about the same. And the next one is giving prompt and accurate response. Accuracy. Okay, chatbots give quick response, okay? Humans don't give quick responses. Okay. All right, so just let me say it again. I says when you are typing into a chat messenger or talking to a customer service representative on your digital device, how do you know if you are talking to a human or a chatbot? And then we're having responses here, quick response, accurate response. You know that this is a chatbot that is talking and not human. Okay. I'm not hearing anything from Chioma or Jacobs. You're not typing in. How do you know? So, okay. We just have two responses. There are some I'm looking for. Surely you must have had, some kind of conversation with your digital devices, maybe when you're making inquiries or when you're trying to search for something, or when you are responding to queries and so forth. It would give response without delay. All right, good. There won't be any delay, lag. Okay, thank you, Chuma. Okay, that's it. So let's proceed. From what your responses are, it will usher us into the types of chatbots that we are going to be dealing with today. You know, we have always wondered about how our technology is evolving, how the rapid change in the technological landscape, especially with digital technologies and the introduction of AI. And we wonder how our tools, our skills, and our expectations are changing. You have expectations like, I should be able to get answers to my questions or my queries, so to say, quickly. I should be able to get accurate answers, detailed answers, and I should be able to be giving suggestions about whether I should change my mind or I should modify my questions or whatever. These are the kind of changes that we are experiencing just now. These are the kind of changes we are experiencing, and we wonder. Now, when we discuss conversational interfaces, we are challenged with the question about how you could tell if there is a person or a machine on the other end of the conversation. You know, there's a way you comport yourself if you're talking to a machine straight up. And then there's also a way there's a certain kind of expectation you have when you are dealing with humans and when you are dealing with a machine. You may have some ideas about what makes a conversational partner real, just like we are already seeing from your responses, or opinions on whether machines should declare themselves as artificial devices before you begin to use them. You could bring that into ethical issues to find out, should this thing tell me who it is or who he or she is before I can use it? These kinds of issues are a great start to thinking about conversational interfaces. We should start to think about conversational interfaces. And if we just go down memory lane a bit, we remember when we had the first modern computers. The only way we interacted with them, this one we are now talking about conversational interfaces. Sorry, you can't see my screen, I'm sharing it. It's still sharing. Just hang on a bit, you will see it. Okay, I'm still sharing. Okay, check your network or maybe refresh or whatever. Okay, let me continue. I said that if we go down memory lane and we remember when we had our first modern computers, the only way to interact with them was with command lines. Remember those DOS command prompts that we used to have, the dark screen, you put a command prompt with hyphen, with the dash, and so forth and so forth. And computers were able to understand those commands or the system codes in the early modern computers. But during the revolution, the computer revolution in the 80s, we saw the introduction of GUIs. There was a time during the COVID era that GUIs became so expensive and all that. Very interesting time. People were selling it at some kind of prices on eBay and so forth. But, well, that's by the way. That's graphical user interfaces. And with graphical user interfaces, you now can, which is actually using visual metaphors to reproduce system commands. Instead of the DOS command, you're not reproducing system commands using visual metaphors. interaction was easier for many users. Take, for example, you want to delete something. You just click on one basket on the screen and then move maybe an icon into the basket, and you have deleted. GUIs. But talking about conversational interface, now we are talking about chatbots, a machine conversing with you, real time, live. This is really interesting. And this is because processing speed of computers have grown tremendously, and the ability for computers to understand human language has improved to the point that for many tasks, a user can speak instructions to the computer instead of pointing to them or typing them as code. Computer can reply using natural language processing, and then it can make dealings with devices to be more accessible to users. Okay, when we look at these capabilities, these recent capabilities of computing, the ability for the computer to understand human language and replying using natural language, you are looking at the capability of a conversational interface. So we are talking about conversational interface. That's introducing us to conversational interfaces, which is actually the topic of today. And you must have encountered it, and you will not be able to respond the way you did if you have not encountered conversational interfaces. And this is now becoming normal. It's becoming our daily trend in our workspace, in our daily lives. And we can't shy away from it. We just have to embrace it. We have to know what we're talking about, and we have to know the different types. That's bringing us to rule-based chatbots and AI-powered chatbots. You will agree with me that the growing impact and the market prevalence of chatbots in the business space is not something to be ignored. Assistants that's AI assistants, they are beginning to play a very important role in assisting people and giving quick responses, just like some of you mentioned. The responses are quick. You are able to reach a large number of clients in record time. The queues are reducing, and there's improvement in dealings and in business landscape. And that is because we are now using tools that can help us. And so this section will talk about rule-based chatbots and as against AI-powered chatbots. So let us have a little background. Most of these chatbots are cost-effective, and in a simplified sense, the primary distinction between a conversational AI and rule-based chatbot lies in their ability to emulate human conversations. Conversations with AI chatbots feel more natural and fluid. If you notice, they are more natural and they are fluid. That's, they are not hitches, which you must already have noticed. But when you talk about a rule-based chatbot, they come across as robotic and even unintelligent. What do we mean by that? They just give you, like one-line answers, repetitive answers, and they look, yes, you are really talking to a machine. You will know at once that you're talking to a machine. But with AI-powered chatbots, conversational interfaces, you almost would want to doubt that you're talking to a machine. It will almost look like you're talking to a human. True of us. We have that instance, and it's becoming more and more of a thing now. Many of the advances in technology is making it seem like that. And you will know why that is when we look at the different characteristics of these two types of chatbots that we have. So let's go further. Let's look at the characteristics. I hope you know our style in this class. We always try to use the characteristics of a particular concept to show you what that concept is really. What are the specific characteristics of a rule-based chatbot? And then the first one there says it operates based on scripted conversational models. Okay, please, can you see the screen? Please, can anyone see the screen? Oh my goodness, you're not seeing the screen. Hello? Miss Hannah too, they can't see the screen and I'm sharing. I'm actually sharing. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe I will stop sharing and share again. Please just hang on a bit. We can't see the screen, it's been blocked. Okay, can you see the screen now? Can we see it now? Still blank? Okay. All right, let me talk to the technical people and see what's going on here. Oh, you can see it now. All right. Good. The rest of you, can you see it now? I think there's just a little bit of lag. Still blank, but some people can see it. So please refresh because I just put it up again. And some of us can see it. You didn't miss much if you have not seen it though, because this is the other one. I've just been talking. Shoma cannot see it. Oh my goodness. Miss Hanatu, please, can we do something about this? I'm presenting and they can't see the screen. Most of them cannot see the screen. But here it's telling me that I'm actually sharing. So I don't know what the problem is. Okay. Okay, while They are working on StreamYard, the projecting platform. Can we just continue? So let me do as much as I can do today, so that on Wednesday we can do more and do the practicals. Okay? Is that okay? You can just listen up and jot down the points. Is that okay? All right, please, let's just proceed. You know, what I have most times is the bullet points. You can just listen. Okay, fine. Can you see the screen now? It has come up. I can see it myself. So please just pay rapt attention and listen. I explain more than what is on my slide. So just listen up, okay? Okay, like I was saying, we have the rule-based chatbots, and we also have the AI-powered chatbots, what we call our AI conversational interface. You know, we operate that on our conversational interface, which is prevalent now. Now, I just said that for us to be able to know if this is a rule-based chatbot or if this is, remember I said the rule-based chatbot versus the AI-powered chatbot in the other slide. I don't know whether you saw that. Let me just go. All right. This was what I said, so nothing much, you didn't miss much. He says, I was just explaining the different types. Okay, let me just backtrack a bit. I was just trying to tell you that the primary distinction between the conversational AI and the rule-based chatbot is their ability to emulate human conversations, their ability to interact with you as if a human being is interacting with you. And when you are interacting with them, you almost feel like you're talking to a human. But when you are interacting using a rule-based chatbot, it's as if you are actually talking to a robot. It is very clear. And I said, when you look at their specific characteristics, you will know why that is. Okay? So let's proceed. And so that's where we got to this point, the rule-based chatbot. And the first thing I said is they operate based on scripted conversation models. There's a script, just like a script in acting. They follow the scripts. They don't deviate from the script. Same with rule-based chatbot. There are scripts that have been given to them. I don't know, some of you that were in the practical class, there were some specific responses that you programmed into your tool, and those are the responses that it will give to you. Nothing more, nothing less. So they operate based on scripted conversation models. The second point there, second characteristic that they exhibit there, they respond to text prompts and are confined to the script. They just respond to text and they are confined to the script. Just like we said, they are quick to set up and quick to deploy. And they meet basic needs. You can't ask them, if you ask them anything complex, it will reply to you that, please come again. I don't seem to recognize that question. Or some of them will tell you outright that I don't have enough information to handle this query. Rule-based chatbots. And finally, it provides general information. This was what we were using, and we were fine. We were all happy. We were using it, and it was meeting our needs, but we have evolved. We have evolved. And let's just go ahead, and then from this, I'm sure some of you already have a feel of what we are talking about because you've had conversations with this kind of robotic-like chatbots in the past. And this was your experience. And what is the advantage? Let's look at the advantages. They are cost-effective. They are not expensive to build. They are budget-friendly. They provide automation, can boost revenue for them. You know, those that are using it, they don't need to spend so much on it. And then the next major point there, advantage of the rule-based chatbots is their ease of implementation. When you're operating the flow chart, they don't require language model training. They don't require complex training. You just give them some scripts and they are good. They simplify the user journey, allowing clients to guide conversation by selecting specific buttons, pricing, for example, opening hours, closing hours. They have a specific rule set and they connect with clients based on those rule sets, and they are always ready to use quickly. Time savings. That's another very good advantage of rule-based chatbots. They can save you a lot of time. They reduce the workload on the human. It still does the work though, but in a very rigid manner. It saves you time to develop it, design, develop it, implement it, and even deploy it. And there is time saving going on there. So, but what are the disadvantages? Why is it that we want more? We want something that will serve us more. What are the disadvantages that we encounter when we use our rule-based chatbots? There's lack of personalization. Remember what we said. They lack the ability to remember. And that's why when you talk to them, it's as if they just give you one and the same answer. They don't really capture context. They kind of don't have memory, if we put it like that. They don't track conversations for future referencing. Sometimes customers are dissatisfied along the line. That's a major disadvantage of using the rule-based chatbot. Another disadvantage here, they have limited use cases. Rule-based chatbots cannot adapt dynamically, and they rely entirely on pre-programmed scripts, just like we explained earlier. When users begin to pose questions beyond their scope, that's the end. But there's something you must understand. The users do not know that the chatbots have these limitations, and so the users are frustrated. This is actually one major disadvantage of rule-based chatbots. They are limited in use cases. Please, as I proceed, if you have any questions, you can just quickly type it. All right, let's look at the third point, the third disadvantage that I captured here. It's a poor fit for larger businesses. You know, remember that they rely on pre-programmed scripts, so they struggle with solving complex issues. And you know, big organizations, they have big problems, and they have more traffic on their sites, and then the chatbots will just go straight obsolete. They cannot handle, you know, bigger businesses. So if you want to get a rule-based chatbot for your business or for your venture or whatever you want to do, the size of your business or your organization or the organization you're working for, if they say you should create a chatbot for them, will determine the type of chatbot you will create. If it's low budget, they just need something to just answer basically yes and no questions and give the basic replies and so forth. Rule-based chatbot is the best way to go, and you won't have these disadvantages come into play. But if it is for the big fish, you know, big organizations with more transactions, more queries and so forth, you would want to go for the AI-powered chatbots. Are we okay with that? So let's try and proceed, and let us look at our AI-powered chatbots. Let's look at the specific characteristics of this one. But you know, let us remind us that this course is actually AI chatbots without programming. So let's put ourselves in remembrance as far as that is concerned. So this is actually our focus. Going further from here, we are going to be focusing on how to create AI powered chatbots, how to use it. All the practicals and all the other ones that you have been doing is to give you a feel of how you can, explore intense responses in the creation of chatbots and so forth and so forth. Fine. Going forward from here, we are looking at our AI-powered chatbots. And let's see what we have here. The specific characteristics. It leverages machine learning and natural language processing. It uses it to its advantage. And then it's more accurate and it's intelligent. I don't have, in this class particularly, you are smart enough to know that we don't have to be explaining when we say a device is intelligent. Its ability to understand and to provide responses that have some level of reasoning is intelligent. And then the third point there says is proficient in answering a wide range of questions, unlike the rule-based chatbot that we just saw in depth a short while ago. So you can see, no wonder when you discuss with an AI-powered chatbot, it's almost as if you are discussing with a human with intelligence. And so let's just go further and look at the advantages. What are the advantages that we notice? Remember, in our last class or 2 classes ago, I can't remember exactly, we talked about multilingual support. That's building AI that understands multiple languages. That's giving it the right training data set. You can do that if it's an AI-powered chatbot. And so it can understand different languages. You can change, you can switch from English to French to Spanish to Yoruba to Africa. Those kind of languages can come into play as far as the AI-powered chatbots are concerned. Another major advantage says advanced customer service. We are talking majorly about machine learning applications. They support they support human efforts, and the support is almost up to human level. And when you talk of virtual assistants that are utilizing AI, they can handle complex issues, making it ideal for large organizations and blue chip companies. So you see there's advancement going on there. So if we also talk about the enhanced data protection, we'll look at external clouds. They operate on internal servers or private clouds. That's the AI-powered chatbots. They provide additional protection against data theft. And so they are better when it comes to data protection, unlike the rule-based. And finally, we have consistent responses. When we look at entity recognition, they enable the chatbots to remember conversations. Remember, we talked about that. And not just remembering conversations, you are remembering the context in which that conversation, was relayed to you. They retain information about the clients based on previous, questions, and they can easily refer to them. So there's referencing going on there. And so they can provide up-to-date responses, which gives better customer satisfaction or client satisfaction. You don't have to go back to history, down memory lane, and try to remind it of what you have already dealt with. You just move on, and it gives you a consistent response. I think I should have added number 5 there, up-to-date, responses, which is actually a very major advantage in using your AI-powered chatbot. It has its drawbacks, though. Let's look at the disadvantages. It takes a longer time to set up, really, because it's more expensive, of course. And it takes time. There are too many things that come into play. Implementing this kind of conversational AI, it's you have a lot of people coming into play. For a proper setup, it involves coordination of various team members. You have the back-end programmer, the front-end programmer, the IT team, the testers, the data analyst, the design analysts. So many people come into play. So of course it will take a longer time to set up. But the end justifies the means, though. I don't really mind. But if you want something quick, sharp, you go for the rule-based. But as far as the AI power chatbot is concerned, people can see this long time to set it up as a major disadvantage. Yes. Okay. The second one says customer apprehensions. There's a way a chatbot will be, and customers are like, am I safe with this? Is it too sophisticated for me? Is my data going to be used for some purposes that I probably do not want? But by and large, people are still using it. The customers are still using it, and there are even more advanced AI-powered chatbots now that can even put your mind to rest. But this can be a disadvantage when there is customer apprehension. Finally, there we have our resource intensive. Now here we are looking at achieving a human-like experience. Remember, when we are talking about AI-powered chatbot, a human-like experience, utilizing in full natural language processing demands with substantial resources, a comprehensive and robust data set to train the AI to respond to diverse situations. And this will result in what? Increased upfront cost before the chatbot can go live. That is it. It is expensive. Gives you good service, but it is expensive. That's a lot of people can see this as a major disadvantage and just settle for the rule-based chatbots. So these are the disadvantages of using an AI-powered chatbot. All right, so let us try and hey. Okay. Trying to centralize it. Okay, we can see here that a conversation interface is what? Is actually a platform from all our talk since. We can see that it's actually a platform where a computer can reply to instructions using natural language. Remember our last point there, we talked about our natural language processing capabilities when we are using our AI-powered chatbot. I want us to see this architecture. Thank God everybody can see my screen now. I found this on ResearchGate, and when I was trying to show you how the architecture works and how the flow chart works, the flow of decision making. When you are talking about chatbots, you are talking a lot about decision making and the pathways that we are going to be discussing when we look at the workings, the internal workings of our chatbot. We are not going to be writing programs for this, but we are definitely going to be using existing, chatbot building tools in our practical sessions to be able to come up with some chatbots that can at least help us to a certain degree in our endeavors. Look at this architecture. You see that there are three different parts. There are three major parts. You look at the user interface, Remember, I said we are looking at the decision-making pathways, okay? If you look at the decision-making pathways, we are seeing our user interface, the first section there. The second section, natural language generation, we are looking at our database and knowledge, the database and the knowledge. Generative AI is coming into play there. And then we look at the processing session. If we look at the user interface, you can see the input of messages and the response of messages interacting with the user interface. And then just beneath it, you can see the different types of chatbots. We can see the AI-powered chatbot. You can see the interaction of the AI-powered chatbot with the database, the retrieved database. It's clear. But then, if you look closely, just in the section that has the user interface, look at the bottom part. You see that if your type of chatbot is AI-based, look at the interaction between the generative-based session of the natural language processing generation component and the AI-powered chatbot. So you see that the determination of the content and then the planning of your sentences, your text, is interacting directly with your AI-based chatbot. So you see the complexity that comes into play when you are looking at the structure or the architecture of your chatbot. And then I want you to pay close attention at the flow, the flow chart, what we are going to be looking at shortly, which is our pathways. You see the paths, the arrows will show you the pathways. Look at the arrowheads and see the pathway. You see the interaction between the pre-processing section, the processing section, and you see natural language coming into play effectively in this particular phase. And so you can see that your flow charting interactive section is active, and more so with your AI-based chatbots. Look at each component one after the other, and you see the beauty of the interaction. And that is going to take us straight into the next part that we'll be talking about. We are looking at our decision-making pathways in our conversational interfaces. All right. Creating decision-making pathways. In deep learning and artificial intelligence, it is a term that is called branching logic. Branching logic. I find this quite interesting. It's actually the creation of decision-making pathways. And I hope you know that we are talking basically about our AI-powered chatbots. That's what we are talking about here. So we are looking at our branching logic. So when I say branching logic, just know that we are talking about our pathways, our decision-making pathways. And let's just proceed. How does this, this you have seen, how does this work? This architecture that you're seeing that is leading us to our decision making pathway, which is our branching logic. How does it work? Let's see how it works. First of all, you have your user input. Remember the user interface. I kept on going to that place because I want you to have that picture at the back of your head while we discuss this. You have the user interface with the chatbot. You see the chatbot, you looked at the two types of chatbots, the AI, the rule-based, and then the AI chatbot. They provide the input or the selecting an option. They have the ability to select an option in their decisions or the decision-making pathways. And then you have here the next point there says condition evaluation. The chatbot evaluates the user's input against predefined conditions and rules. Next, it makes a decision based on the evaluation that it has done. And then the chatbot decides which part, we are looking at decision-making pathways, which part to take or which response to give. This is basically what we just saw. Yes, it's the architecture, but it's actually a flow chart. The decision box. For those of us that are not a computer inclined, you've seen some kind of flow of interaction. You have drawn a generic one where you say, okay, fine. Or even a hierarchy diagram. If it's just like a flow chart. And then there's the decision box where if he says yes, we go left. If he says no, we go right. That's just what we are trying to explain here. The decision making takes place after the evaluation. Remember, we are talking of how the branching logic works. And remember, the branching logic is what? It comes into play when we are talking about creating our decision-making pathways. And for the decision-making pathways, we are looking at the flow of information. Okay, next we have response generation. Response generation. The chatbot generates a response or takes an action based on that decision that it makes. And those are the responses that you get as kind of feedback from your AI-powered chatbots. Basically, this is how it works. There is user input, there is evaluation of the input, there is decision to be made, and then there is response generation, which is passed on to the user. Okay, so how do we implement this? We now know how it works. Let us quickly talk about how we can implement this. How do we implement it? Please keep it simple. I know when you looked at that diagram, it looks as if it's, such a complex diagram. No. From my explanation, you see that the flow is quite simple. You do not really need complex decision-making pathways. No, when you are designing, just keep it simple. Okay? And then the next thing is that you test it. You test the branching logic extensively. You test again and again, and I don't have to go down and begin to, we'll go down from our last class, last module, talking about testing, training data, and so forth. But what we are saying here is that you test thoroughly, not shabbily. Go in depth, good test. And then when you are dealing with natural language processing or natural language, use clear and concise language. Let your chatbot responses be easy to understand. You don't have to go and have one convoluted sentence that you will be putting dictionary beside you. Or remember, we are trying to develop chatbots that can relate with humans in multiple languages. So just let it be clear. No ambiguity. Let it be clear. Keep it simple, and do not ignore the testing phase. Thorough testing. And that brings us to the next point. Good. We are almost coming to the end of today's lecture. So before I talk about the different types of chatbots that we have, can you please ask me questions? Or is it that, do you understand? Do you understand so far? Is everybody understanding? Mr. Kelvin, are you okay? Are you following so far? Were you able to catch up? Mr. Victor, you good? Mr. Anat, thank you for being with us and responding very well. Mr. Abdurazak, are you understanding? Do you have any questions? Are you still with us? Beautiful. Thank you so much. So let us finish up this thing, and so we can go prepare for Wednesday's practical sessions. Okay, so we know how to implement thank you. We know how to implement our branching logic. So let's look at the different types. The first type we have of branching logic, we have our conditional statements. Those of you that are computing inclined, you know what conditional statements are. They execute different actions based on specific conditions or user inputs. You know, just like I told you, if this client is paying this certain amount, respond in such a manner. If this other client is paying instrumentally, respond in this certain manner. So there's a conditional statement going on there, and they are responding based on the specific conditions and based on the input data from the users. That's the first type of branching logic. And when we talk about branching logic, always remember we are looking at our decision-making pathways. That's our branching logic. Number two, the decision trees. This is a tree-like model that splits the decisions based on the specific conditions and the inputs. This is another kind of branching logic. We have decision trees. There are different splits moving into different directions. And finally, we have our state machines. This is a behavioral model. This model is behavioral in its nature, and it can be in one of a finite number of states, different kinds of states. And they are called state machines. So when we say the different kinds of branching logic, these are the three major kinds of branching logic we are going to be dealing with. I think it reminds you of flow charting that we did in basic computing. And for those of us that are maybe a little bit gray concerning what we are talking about, and from the explanation, at least you have a feel of what we are saying. But I will advise, you can just do a little bit of digging, try to get some kind of studying, read more about this and benchmark it with what we are talking about as far as branching logic is concerned. Okay, and so what are the benefits? Why would you say branching logic is important? Why branching logic? So let's look at the benefits. Here we have improved user experience. When you have a very good decision-making pathway and there's fluid flow, I mean, the flow is smooth without clogs. We are actually having a more personalized and relevant responses coming from your AI conversational interface. Is more personalized. That is why you begin to doubt whether you are talking to a chatbot or a human, because the user experience is so fluid, so enjoyable, is improved. The next one there, we said increased efficiency. They can automate complex decision-making processes. You can automate complex decision-making processes, and you can also have a chatbot that is so advanced in its design that the decision-making pathways that it follows and it charts just spells efficiency. And that again will make user experience to be beautiful and enjoyable. Finally, there's accuracy. They can reduce errors. Remember, predefined rules, decision-making processes that are point, and the accuracy that you get from a very healthy branching logic is enhanced accuracy. that brings us to the end of Conversational Interfaces lecture. Thank you so much. So this is the time that you ask me questions, even if you don't want to ask, since this is the end of lecture 2. And thank you so much. Questions? So I can see that we followed well. For those of us that are just joining up, I would like more responses on this. We want to try and capture it and use it for a more robust discussion forum. Okay? So I will just put this up. You can snap it before the slides hit your platform. Try and ponder on this. And just like a follow-up to this, try and compare okay. All right, no problem. Somebody is asking a question here if I can explain the conditional statement type of branching logic. Just hang on a bit, I'll explain that. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell all of us, please respond to this discussion question. Try and see from your experience if you can distinguish between a rule-based chatbot and an AI-powered chatbot. So just respond to that. Okay, and to answer your question about conditional statements, right? About the branching logic, the conditional statement type of branching logic. I said that it is used to execute different actions based on specific conditions or user input. And I was trying to explain to you that an action could be that a user might be making queries, for example, about maybe the purchase of a house, and the chatbot can answer you based on whether you are buying cash. It branches to the kind of responses that is given to somebody that is purchasing in cash or somebody that is going to use a mortgage and pay instrumentally. You get that kind of condition. So there are different conditional statements that will be used. So it is basically used to execute different actions based on specific conditions or specific user characteristics or user inputs. That is what we mean when we talk about our conditional statements branching logic. I don't know if I've answered your question. All right, so far so good. Thank you very much for listening in. Thank you for those of you that have been very patient. Thank you for flowing with us. Please read in depth. Your assessment questions will be coming out shortly, and peradventure you have more questions, keep them for Wednesday and we'll deal with all that. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of this lecture for today. So I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.